Mishna Sukkah, chapter 4, Mishnah 4. After we explained all about the Arava and how we wanted to make it really clear that it's a mitzvah from the Torah and that it was accepted by all of Klal Yisrael, and that Tzaddukim wanted to go against it, and that's why we Dafka made it stand out, that if the seventh day of the Arava falls out on Shabbos, then it would override Shabbos to bring out the strength of the Arava, that it's a halacha l'Moshe Messina, which the Tzaddukim rejected. So now we're coming on to the Mitzvah of Lulav, and how we actually do the Mitzvah of Lulav, and how we originally brought it onto the Temple Mount, onto the Har HaBayis, and we leave it there, and there was a lot of pushing and shoving. It became very dangerous. People probably got hurt, and then the rabbis changed the whole mitzvah around, not to do it in the Har HaBayis on the Temple Mount in the Beis HaMikdash, but to take the Lulav at home where they were rather than to bring it there. So let's have a look inside the words now. Mitzvah Lulav, the mitzvah of taking the Lulav. Ketzad, how do you do it? Yom Tov Parishon, if the first day Shel Chag of Sukkah Shechol Yos b'Shabbos that falls out to be on Shabbos, they would take their lulavim to the Har HaBayis. It says over here in the Rav, Mitzvah Lulav b'Yom Tov Rishon Shel Chag, on the first day of Sukkah Shechol Yos b'Shabbos that falls out on Shabbos. Ketzad, how do you do it? What do you do? So we said, they would bring their lulavs Erev Shabbos, before Shabbos on Friday afternoon. They'd bring their lulavs before Shabbos came in. Okay, so they brought them down. They brought them to the Har HaBayis, the Hachazonin and the Gaboim, the organizers there. Mekablin Mayhem would receive the lulavim from them. V'soidrin Oisen, they'd organize them Al Gav Ha'itztava, on top of the porches. We'll explain that in a minute. Vazakanim, but the elders, the older people, Manichines Shalahen Balishka, they would place their lulavs in a special room to get later on. So let's just have a look at that. Al Gav Ha'itztava, Rechava Shalhar, this is a broad place, Shalhar HaBayis, on the Temple Mount, Hayasai it was, Mukefes Pe'itztavos, surrounded by these porches, patios, verandas, whatever you want to call them, with some sort of shelter, Leishav Shom, to sit there, or Mesechos Lamela, and these porches had a cover on the top, Mibnei HaGeshomim, because of the rain. So as you can see over here, there's a porch or a colonnade, it's called, with these poles. That's the way it was made. And they'd store their lulavim over here with their esrog for the next day, and there was a shelter on top because of the rain. And what about the elders? They actually didn't put their lulavs over there. They didn't get it taken by the Gaboim and put in these itztavas, in these porches. They put it in a room. Why were they different? They were worried that they shouldn't get pushed around when they came to collect them the next day. Lamacha, tomorrow, when they would come, lakachas ish lulav, each man his lulav. So they were worried with all the pushing and shoving there. They didn't want to get hurt. We said they put it on the Yitzhava. There's a canon would put it there in the Lishka. Or Melamdim Oisom. And the Beis Din would actually teach the people to say the following. Loma, to say, Kol mi shemagia. Anyone that it reaches, Lulavi, my Lulav, V'yodo, into his hand, Harehu b'matana. It is a gift to him. He can keep it, because we know that it has to be your own personal lulav that you own, and because there were so many lulav that were stored there, they could have got mixed up. All sorts of things could happen. So whoever's lulav, my lulav, gets into their hand, they can keep it, and if I get their lulav, they're going to say the same thing, and I keep theirs, because it's a gift for me to keep. Lamacha, the following day, mashkimin, they would get up early, or vine, and they would come. The hachazonin zarkin, and the gabayim would throw the lulavs Oisam lifnam, they throw them before the people. V'hein mechatfin, and they would snatch those lulavs. Or makin eshes chaveroi, and each person would hit his friend because there was so much pushing and shoving. Or cheshara based in shabbat sakana, and when the based in saw that it came to danger, his skin, or they instituted shiyahei chol echad ve'echad, that each individual noitel v'veiso, he should take it in his house because it is so dangerous. So that was it. It was no more. Just a couple of points here still. Malamdim Baistin, and the Baistin would teach Kol Ha'am, all the people, Loma, to say, Im Yavo Lulavi El Yod Chaverai, if my lulav would come into the hand of my friend, Harry Hor Shaleb Matana, it is his as a gift. Kidei Shalo Yehei Etzlo, in order that it should not be by him, Lo Gazel V'Lo Shal, that it shouldn't be stolen and it shouldn't be borrowed, because you can't have a stolen or borrowed lulav to do a mitzvah, because, you know, mitzvah haba ba'avera lo mitzvah, a mitzvah that comes through an avera is not considered a mitzvah. And one other point that I did note, we said over here that they would bring their lulavim on Erev Shabbos. Well, what about the esrog? And what about the Aravis and the Hadassim? So the Yach and the Tiferes Yisrael explains here, in the Erev Shabbos they'd bring their lulavs to the Temple Mount. Venir Ali, it appears to me, deha esrog mekorach ba'anfei ha'arava v'hadas haya. It appears to me, says the Tiferes Yisrael, that the esrog was wrapped with the branches of the willows and the myrtles, the hadas. They were all wrapped together, all tied together. So when it says the lulav, it means the esrog and the hadas and the aravis as well.